法律101。
大家好，欢迎收听在德州中文台今天为朋友们所带来的法律101，我是胡美健。在今天呢，我们再一次为朋友们邀请的这是来自 HPD 的高阶警官 Officer James Sabota 参加我们的节目，欢迎朋友们一块儿收听。来，我们先欢迎 Officer 的参加。Good morning, Officer. Welcome to join the show.
Good morning, Pam. It is so good to be on the show this morning.Thank
you. And, we are still in Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year, the Dragon, Year of Dragon. So, remember, we have to, I know, you remembered how to say the greetings in Chinese, right?
Yes, and I'm going to say that. And I've been going around. I was in Chinatown, and I learned how to say it, of course, from last year. So, here it goes.恭喜发财！
哇，恭喜发财！朋友们，看到没有？恭喜发财！今天是正月初5啊，我们还在过年呢。恭喜发财 ！Same to you, Officer.
Well, thank you. And I was so excited. There were some fireworks and a lot of celebrations last weekend for the Eve and also the New Year's Day. It was so exciting.Yes,
it was exciting. We celebrate the Year of Dragon, but we also, in our surroundings, in our town, and also in Kansas, both we just heard the fight, the gun, the shootings, and it just very, very, very sorry.
Yes.That's something that is real and going on, and I'll talk about a few things during this show today. Very important. There's a lot of people that own guns. A lot of us own guns, and we must be very responsible gun owners. Now, whether it's the Chinese New Year or any other celebration time.I just want to remind everybody, it's very, very unsafe to take your guns outside and to shoot them in the air of celebration because those bullets, when they come out of that barrel of that gun, everybody's, that shoots a gun, they think they're having a good time, but those bullets travel a very long ways and they have to come down, and they will come down.They could, number one, for safety, they could hit somebody and kill them or seriously injure them. So it's very important to never, ever shoot your pistol in the air to celebrate.
好，朋友们呢，我们在迎接农历新年啊，龙年的到来，大家呢欢天喜地，彼此呢互道新年快乐，恭喜发财，然后呢龙年吉祥如意，幸福平安美满健康。但是呢，就在我们欢庆中国新年的同时，我们也看到在我们的休斯顿，还有昨天呢，也在这个 Kansas City 这个地方呢，各自都发生了枪击事件，也各自都有人命损失。昨天的这一个枪击案呢，是庆祝Super Bowl 这个超级杯拿到了冠军以后呢，回去狂欢庆祝结果发生了枪击事件，22个人受伤，还有1人丧命，3名这个嫌疑犯现在都已经这个被这个 custody， 就是警方已经这个嫌疑犯都已经逮捕起来了。那么在我们休斯顿的话，在上个周末礼拜天在 Lakewood Church， 这是在全美国数一数二的大教堂，它原来是 Rockets 那一个 Lakewood Church 呢，原来是 Rockets 的这个场馆这是我们火箭队的场馆，但后来被 Lakewood Church 现在有他们在使用，整个的里边有16000多个位置。那么在礼拜天的这一天那个时候呢，就一位有精神疾病的妇女吸枪，还带着她5岁的儿子到了 Lakewood Church， 结果现场开枪。那么我们也晓得呢，在现场开枪之后，2个人受伤，他5岁的儿子呢，在这个 在警方和枪手的这个交集之间被流弹波及，送医院抢救，而这名枪手，这名妈妈啊，这个妇女呢有精神疾病的妇女，结果就在这个当场死亡。这2起都是在近期1个礼拜、2个礼拜之内的2起这个丧命的枪击案。刚才 Officer Sabota 就讲了，庆祝新年有的时候我们要燃放鞭炮，或者呢不管是哪个庆祝，也许在农历新年或者这个就是跨年的时候，对空鸣枪千万不要，因为你永远不知道这个子弹会落在哪里，它的穿透力、它的力量，对空鸣枪之后它会造成什么样的损失、什么样的伤害，所以也要提醒大家在枪支方面要特别的注意，不要把枪支随便拿出去对空鸣枪或者是不当的行为。在全美国现在枪支枪的数量比人口的数量还要多，所以这是一个问题啊，朋友们要多注意啊。Yes, officer, you knew that there's a report just released. The amount of the guns in the states is more than the population.
Yes, and you know that this topic of guns has been brought up many, many times, you know, especially after a shooting takes place. So there's more guns in population.And, so many times I'm asked, is it safe to have a gun? And some people say, we have a right in the United States on the Constitution to own a gun legally. And then, there's some of them that say that we need to confiscate or do away with all guns because it will be safer.So there's a big debate on this among people that have different thoughts about this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and of course, guns are safe as the owner. This is so true. Guns are safe as the owner of being very responsible and not to do something bad with it, But it's unfortunate, that we have learned over the weekend, and my phone was blowing up, so many people calling me about details on the shooting at the church, at the big church there on the freeway, and so many people were scared, this and that, but it's unfortunate that now the investigation is ongoing. So there's a lot of question marks out there still. But just what we know, this particular woman brought her child in there and pulled out a rifle, passed 2 security guards, and started firing rounds. We all know this. What does that mean for gun owners, like some of our listeners? Well,I really don't think that none of our listeners would ever do this. And it seems like a lot of people that actually shoot these guns to kill people, whether in the schools or churches or out in public areas, they have mental illness and they have a lot of anger built up. But we will talk about how to report that in a minute after you translate it. But, it's unfortunate that people that have mental illness,and they're angry, whether it's a divorce or whether they're mad at a religion or a group of people where they will come out and start shooting.
好，在这里呢是的确，刚才 Officer Sabota 也讲到了，我们是在美国这里呢，因为宪法的保障啊，你可以允许美国人民保护自己，用武器用枪这个保护自己，所以拥枪权在保守党和民主党、这个共和党、民主党之间呢，这个拥枪权怎么解读这个宪法？那么有很强的不同的地方啊，所以呢，在一般社会、一般我们呢，这个民众呢，也对于这个拥枪权也有不同各自的看法。但是呢，不管枪这一个，我们说它是武器也好，说它是某种工具也好啊，用来保护自己的工具，它本身不会自己来犯罪，而是使用的人在犯罪。那么在这一方面呢，现在也在美国社会方面呢，在政治方面呢，法律方面有很大的争议。刚才 Officer Sabota 呢就特别要提醒大家，这一次呢，在我们休斯顿 Lakewood Church 的这个枪击事件呢，这名妇女呢， 他带着他的 rifle， 他的来福枪进入了教堂，然后穿过了2名警卫啊，这2名警卫也是 off duty 的，就是这个 police officers， 然后呢就开始开枪。那么事实上这名妇女本身是有精神疾病的啊，本身是有精神疾病。那么在她的，或者是说她也是虽然有精神疾病，但她还是合法购买了枪支，拥有枪支。所以现在枪支方面的安全，在这里呢 Officer Sabota 也特别提醒大家，不管你是否支持或者你是否拥有枪支，你都要特别谨慎，特别小心。枪支我们说可以保护你，也可以毁灭你，所以请大家注意。Yes, officer, we learned that Mrs. Moreno, the lady in the Lakewood Church, she had mental issues, but she was legally purchased her guns. So in that case, in that situation, any suggestion you can give to our listeners?
Yes, of course, the investigation is ongoing, but usually, how we do our job. In other words, if we get a call that maybe there's a family disturbance and they're having mental issues, we document it all in reports. And from time to time, whenever, being that it's a right to own a gun, us as police cannot just start grabbing guns from people's homes and taking them away just because we feel that's a right thing. We have to get approval from the district attorney's office, and they have to follow the laws to say, okay, at what point do we, or does the courts think that somebody is of danger of having a firearm? Now, that process, it takes time. It's not done overnight. In other words, when somebody calls the police and say, well, my family members, they have guns and they're having a dispute with their family, we got to document this, and it just takes time. Now, I don't know this particular case, but it is a long process. It has to be looked at, has to be agreed upon at the district attorney's office, and then if it gets to the point. Now, whether it did or did not in this case, I don't know how far it went on the investigation, but it sounds like, I think on the media they interviewed the mother-in-law and maybe other family members, and they said that the police was called. The advice that I can give to anybody, if you know of somebody who a family member or friend or coworker who you think that they display special thoughts, whether it's verbally or if you see something you're writing down, like a note or a memoir to say they're going to hurt anybody with a gun, or if you feel anything in your heart, it's very important to call the police right then and there, or go to a police station and document it, because it's important when they build a case, when they take guns away, and the police do take guns away, but it has to be fully documented, because it would be easy. The easy way, if somebody just says, well, my next door neighbor, I don't like the way he looks at me, and I think they're angry, so I'm going to call the police and have their guns taken away. It's not that simple process. It has to be documented and investigated before they take the guns away.
好，朋友们，在这里啊，我们可以看到呢，就是呢，在你要提醒自己，在我们的周遭，朋友们，除了我们自己低头玩手机啊，你在那边手机上面看东西、听东西，然后跟朋友这个我们讲的 group 这个圈里边，这个群那个群，这个圈那个圈，彼此在交谈，在看你的手机之外，朋友们抬起头来观察一下你的周遭吧，看一下 pay attention 在你周围的这些人，他们的行为，他们的情绪，他们的改变，多放一些心思在周遭上面，而不是只把你的心思放在你的手机上面，好吗？这样子呢，你才能够及早的就是看到一些变化，了解是否有危险发生，尤其是在周遭的，很可能你稍微注意一下同事、朋友邻居 他们有没有情绪上突然大的转变？他们有没有行为上面的异常？他们有没有在言语之中就是显露出就是有这种偏激、报复、暴力这样子的情形？你觉得当他们的心态、他们的情绪、他们的心智有这些问题的时候，你不是害他们，而是要保护他们，以及保护周遭的我们的社区、我们的其他人的安全。我们会请你先提醒警方，提醒这个 police department， 这个 law enforcement department， 让他们注意，他们可以事先预防，可以做一个防范但是呢，警方不可能在没有人报案、没有人提醒的情形下面，没有经过调查的情形下面，直接去禁止某人不可以购买枪支，某人必须要就是看管，或者某人要特别被注意，这一些要有法庭的 court 它的文件，必须由法官来判定出具法庭有效文件，警方才可以做这样子的执行，而不是我们这样子的报告，你这样子的报告，警方就可以，警方只能够说把这些文件看到报告以后，他们来继续的在看以外，也要提交到法院去，必须由法官来做判断，才下最终的决定。所以这个是要大家一起努力维护我们整个大环境的安全。Okay, officer. So the shooting happened again. Yesterday had one, and then the past Sunday we had one at the Lakewood Church. So now it's that Lakewood Church and the celebration for Super Bowl in Kansas City. They are all contain big group, big crowd. So will you suggest our audience avoid going to those parties, those events?
Well, we shouldn't be scared in life, or we're scared to leave our houses, this and that. We should not be in that mindset. Now, the stats were brought up. Yes, there are more guns now. But, somebody pointed out the stats to me historically, where back 50, 60, 70 years ago, and they showed me the stats. And it's true that, but years ago, there were more households with guns than what there are today. There's more guns today, but there were more households, more families to have. And, Texas is some people say, well, it's a cowboy state where everybody has a gun, like the Wild Wild West. But, I'm born and raised here in Texas, and, going back to the 1960s and 1970s, yes, a lot of people had guns, but the parents, taught the children not to play with the guns, and they were used for sporting or for protection. And it seems like we didn't have the shootings like we have today that are in public places. Today is a whole different game, and they have access to it. And I think people carry guns more today because it is, it's a state where you can carry a gun with places to you. Now, I've been a police officer for 38 years, and I've been on a lot of scenes. I've been where there were shots fired, and I tell you what, it's easy to say, the next what they call a Monday morning quarterback, or backseat drivers, where people start talking, well, this should have been done, this should have been done, this should have been done. But with the great training that officers have, specifically in the Houston Police Department, the training that we have, but when we're in an environment like those officers were working an off-duty job,
yes,
there at the church, but when something happens, it goes from a calm, relaxed church environment where everybody's coming in, for church services, but then somebody pulls a rifle or a gun and starts firing guns. The officers have to think very, very quickly, and they got to act very, very quickly. But in addition, if you're a patron in a parade or a church or in a shopping mall, and if you're just shopping or you're in there, you have to act quickly, too, to get away from that gunfire. But police officers, we are trained to protect the public, and we have to go in to the gunfire to try to eliminate that person that is shooting.
所以呢，在这里的话，我们想请朋友们，刚才 Officer 特别在这里啊，也提醒大家，当然了，他已经是30多年的警务工作人员，那么对于在这种安全方面的话，我想朋友们我们讲说，警务工作人员 law enforcement 给我们的这些忠告，事实上呢，你我都已经在生活当中1次2次，甚至于现在小朋友在小学里边都会有师长都会耳提面命的提醒他们，建议他们，让他们不要忘掉这样子的安全的措施。身为这个成人的你我们也知道，这种大型的聚会场所，这种大型的 event， 这种大型的活动，不是说你不要参加，不是说你禁止自己参加，而是要注意这些安全。那么对于在青少年方面、青年朋友方面的话，很多时候很可能他们更有这个心，更有这一个这个感觉要去参加，这一种 feeling 一定要去参加，要 enjoy 的。所以呢，我们不能够说，在刚才 Officer Sabota 特别讲，他不能够说不要去参加我们也不能够有跟听众朋友讲说你不可以参加，你要远离这些。但是呢，我们希望大家提高警觉，能够提高警觉。那么对于在枪支方面、危险的武器方面，我们不说不带，因为多少有这个是宪法保障的权利，你可以合法，我们可以合法拥有枪支。但是呢，在使用方面，在它的安全措施方面，毕竟我们不是警方，我们不是警官，不像他们每个月都要经过枪支训练、射击训练，对于枪支的安全、它的操作有十足的认识了解。而且呢，能够在第一时间之内知道如何用手中的枪来保护自己，来让麻烦、让危险能够受到控制。否则，如果没有这方面的训练，你带的枪很可能在围棋的时候成为歹徒用来就是扩大他的能力，造成更大伤害的一个注意。所以呢，这是一体两面了这个要请大家多注意。所以 Officer Sabota 也在这里提醒我们的听众朋友，时间线8点58分，我们的节目很快进行到这就要告一段落了。我们先要谢谢听众朋友们的收听，我们要谢谢 Officer Sabota 的参与，然后呢，在下一次节目当中，我们再继续讨论。Yes, Officer. Well, time is flying so fast. It's already 8:59.
I know it. Time goes by so, and it's always a pleasure. And I'm going to be in Chinatown on Saturday, so I hope to see a lot of the listeners and the wonderful people that live in the area and shop. And like I say, I'm going to say this: Go see Fa.
恭喜发财是let me ask, Saturday in Chinatown, which event or which area, where will you go? And maybe our audience will just purposely go there to see you.
It's going to be it's going to be an Asian real estate gala at one of the big restaurants there on Bel Air. But before that, I may be just going around and saying hi to everybody. I like to go to some of the markets. And actually, this past week, I was in near Clear Lake at a Chinese restaurant, and one lady that waited on my table, I think she was a co-owner of the restaurant, she looks at my name on my uniform. She goes, "Oh, you're Officer Sabota from the Texas Chinese Radio." I said, "Yes,
wow.
I am." So she took a selfie with me. I felt like a movie star. And she called me.
We feel good. We feel good.
You know who she said I look like? She said I look like Richard Gere, the movie star.
Really?
And I said, okay,
oh,
from
yes,
Pretty
you
Woman.
Do. Yes, you do. You do look like him. Okay, good. So, 朋友们，在这个星期六呢，如果你到 Chinatown 的话，说不定你就可以会碰到 Officer Sabota， 记得跟他打个招呼新年仍然在继续进行当中，恭喜发财，他也会告诉你恭喜发财。Okay, Officer, nice to talk to you, and looking forward to talking to you next month.
It was a pleasure. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.